in like literally a week. And I like clockwork now. Like I was, my whole life I've been so cocksure in terms of erections. And man, like I'm noticing now, I'm like, dude, if I even think about anything else while I'm having sex, you know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
Like if anything else enters my field of awareness, if I start going like, what's this like? It's gone. Not even gone, but it's just not, it's not the dick. It's not the dick. It's gone. And it's like, that guy was, I've never even like heard of or seen a guy like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's
most talented guy I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what drew me in. Honestly, the prophecy part of it was just, to me, just so bonkers that I'm just like, this guy's a bullshit artist. This is crazy, you know. And I was, incredibly skeptical of it. And then ultimately, first of all, I started doing a lot of research. I hired a private investigator, to look into this guy. He was saying he's best friends with Jane Goodall, and I didn't really believe him there.
I forgot about that. He was buddy with Jane.
Yeah, and then I reached out to her personally and got an interview, and she said this guy's the most fascinating guy she's ever met, and and so obviously that vouched for him. But really, what kind of drew me in was how weird and amazing this guy's life was. He was like the most fascinating guy I've ever met. He was a carny. He was a jewelry designer to, I guess, Ronald Reagan, John Wayne, and Russell Crowe. He was,
Did you say carny at first?
A carny. So he basically at 12 years old, he like joined the carnival for like 4 years because his brother got cut in half.
Yes, I remember. Okay, yes. Okay.
And his parents
dude, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't want to laugh at his brother getting cut in half, but yeah, his brother got fucking cut in half.
Yeah, and so his parents had to go basically take care of his brother, so he was left kind of on his own at 12 years old. And so what he decided to do was join the carnival. And there he kind of met all these freaks and married a prostitute, which isn't in the film, but and then
he's like a mythical guy. I swear to God,
it's mythical. It's like Forrest Gump. It's like Zelig. It's like the guy has literally done everything. And so, I just felt like him alone as a character study. I don't know if you sort of like character study of movies or documentaries. Just him alone, I knew would be kind of fascinating. And then on top of that, you've got this whole prophecy. You've got, indigenous. Going into this sort of indigenous world that most people have no idea about, and learning about, their wisdom and connection and all that. And then having this guy kind of fulfill this prophecy. It's just like the strangest story.
And you kind of followed him around more so kind of like fact check the guy, which I could pick up on towards the end of the doc was pissing the guy off when you were fact checking him and he was just like, well, you don't believe me, dude? You don't believe me? I'm the chosen one to save the world.
Couple times, when I played.
You played college ball?
I played college hockey.
What?
At Yale, yeah.
Damn, dude, what the fuck? What position?
So I was a forward.
What?
Yeah.
What the hell? I didn't know you were a hockey player.
Yeah.
You don't strike. I mean, again, I'm not saying you're not like rough and tumble, but you don't strike me as a fucking college hockey player. How'd you keep all your teeth?
Yeah, we wore masks in college,
Yeah, oh, okay, fair enough.
When you play it professionally, then the masks come off. But
why?
I don't know. I don't know why they kept that rule. Maybe they wanted people's faces to stay intact.
Yeah.
Until you play pro.
Though it's time to take the mask off and show that beautiful hockey face.
Yeah, it's for advertising. They need to see the faces.
True for the game. Yeah.
Because if you're wearing a mask, you can't relate to the players.
Yeah, that's true. What was the hockey grind like growing up? Because you must have played.
It was tough. Yeah,
that's a sport you play like early in the morning.
It was like anything, just such a huge commitment. But to find ice time oftentimes like when you're a little kid, you have to wake up at 5 a.m. and before school and stuff like that. I think a couple of times a week.
Damn,
but it was just like it was just a huge commitment your whole life. You want to be a great player. You want to play.
Did you cop the scholarship to Yale?
They don't. They give financial aid. So if they look at your income and decide what they to do with you. They're not allowed to just. I don't know about now, but back then, that's how they did it. But I got offered a couple scholarships from like Notre Dame and other places. But
so you're nasty.
I was.
You don't toot your own horn. I get it. So how many documentaries have you done?
I've directed 4 and then made 5.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What was your favorite one? You think?
Well, this one, they've all been very different, but one that's kind of near and dear. We're talking about hockey. Well, I've actually done several that are somewhat hockey related, but I really love In Search of Greatness, which is about the greatest athletes of all time and about the nature of greatness, told from the perspective of the greatest athletes. And it's really about kind of creativity and about how, most of the greatest athletes, from Gretzky to Tom Brady to, Messi, they're not what we think they are. They're actually on a spectrum of like athletic ability and speed, and they're actually like worse than the average athlete, strength and speed. Gretzky, let's take for instance,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, he was like an anomaly. He could barely bench press anything. He wasn't very necessarily fast. Didn't have the hardest shot. But he was just, because of these weaknesses, he had to figure out, another way to play the game. And he just, was the greatest ever by far, because he had to come up with these compensation tactics. So he thought faster. The same thing with Tom Brady. If you look at his combine score, whatever.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to argue is that I think we see sport in the wrong way. We're not looking at the right things, and for me, it's all about like creativity and sort of what we do with our weaknesses, and that we can actually reinvent our fields by thinking about sport or whatever it is in a completely different way. You look at artists, it's the same thing, in order to reinvent something, you have to, it's not what you think.
I know what you're saying. It's not all about like the 40 time. It's not all about blah, 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 blah.
It's totally the opposite. It's
like, I don't know. Like, what, for me, this is like kind of different, but like COVID for me, like this whole thing about like being kind to other people. Cause I was like, I'm a nice guy. And then like, I would notice, like, I didn't notice how much I did this before COVID, but I would be in a grocery store and I would just see a person, and like my brain was constructed to like keep myself somehow above anyone around me in any way I could think of. So I would like I would see like a tall, handsome, muscular man. I'd be like, fucking loser. Guy's probably a big dork, thinks he's so fucking cool. Guy's literally probably a dumbass. And then I would just see like a lady and be like, look at that fucking lady. And I would just do this in my head all the time.
I'm the same. Not now, but
no, I would do this all the time. I'd walk around and go, fucking look at this guy. And then COVID heightened it because it was like people would have the mask. I wasn't a fan of it. I was like, I think it's weird we're all afraid of the air. So I would go out. I wasn't being like super aggressive with it, but like if I was outside walking my dog, I'm not wearing a mask. Like I'm fine. I'm not worried. We're all far apart from each other. And I would get like dirty looks in my neighborhood because everyone was like completely K95'd up. And I had that, it like heightened that thing in my head. So now it was like enemies to me. And I was like, fucking look at this fucking, now I was like really amped up. And I remember, I think I was in like a Whole Foods or something. And I realized somehow that every time I'd walk past a person and be like, look at this fucking piece of shit, it gave me a bad feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
And something like snapped in me to where every person I saw, I'd be like rooting for them on some level. I'd be like, I wish them the best. And I'd still have that, like, look at this fucking lady's weird ass fucking pants. But I would be like, but I wish her the best. And dude, I get filled with like an incredible sense of peace. And ever since I've been, because the whole thing for me is like, even if you see somebody who's like kind of unbearable, like maybe doing something crazy or whatever, once you have kids, you're like, oh, that's somebody's kid.
Yeah.
So like if my kids are out in the world, God forbid someone walked past them or like, nice fucking hat, dumbass, I'd be so upset. So I started being like, well, I'm going to treat everybody like they're someone else's kid. And, and it's like, cause I would hope their parents would like want them to be treated nicely. And if their parents don't care if they're treated nicely or not, then they need even more kind of like loving careness or loving care, whatever it's called. And
having kids really helps with taking that kind of perspective too, especially like with your own parents. Like once you have a kid, thinking about your own parents, how they dealt with you, and having a little bit of respect for that, being a dad and having a dad,
Oh yeah.
And other people too, like you're saying, but I don't know what that is. I had that same thing about judging everybody, and it's a weird, where does that come from? You can't, even if you're self-aware, you're like, well, why did I keep doing that?
I have a theory, and it's my theory is that, so I think it goes all the way back to like, it's just a thing in nature. Like if you're an organism,
you have to size everything up.
Exactly. But if you're an organism, say, and like there's a bigger organism than you, you have a fear of annihilation instinctively. You're going, this thing's bigger than me. Now I'm going to die. And I think humans have so many dimensions to judge where it's like money, looks, success, it's like infinite. Like, so like
comparing.
So if you sense someone somehow bigger than you, then it's like you have to somehow cut them down in your head because there's like a weird innate fear that pops up. Mm-hmm. That's my theory.
Yeah.
So you just walk around the day all day. And then if there's someone that like you can just completely slam dunk on, it's probably just a feeling of victory where you're like, this fucking piece of shit. So
yeah, I
don't know. That's my theory about that. But it doesn't help you. The thing is you think you get this buzz off it, but I really think it makes you feel worse.
Yeah.
Japanese saying for whites under 3 sides of the eye. And it's like kind of like, if you see that, be careful.
Oh, wow. That is cool.
Sanpaku? Is that what it's called? Oh, yeah. Sanpaku. Whites on 3 sides of the eyes.
Yeah. I feel like all those serial killers, they all have that look.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a stereotype.
I don't know.
But they do have, I don't know if it's like, they took too much acid or whatever.
Could be.
Yeah.
The funny thing was, I heard about that whites on 3 side of the eye thing. And I kept saying to myself, like, I would hear of people being like, oh, I just did like a bunch of ayahuasca. And a lot of them would get this wonky look in their eyes. And it's literally, it kind of looked like you could see a little bit underneath. And I could never like pin down, like, what is that about that? But it was like I don't know.
Yeah, I've done.
Have you done ayahuasca?
Yeah, do I have that?
How do you? No, you don't have that. You're free from, what's it called again? Tansaki?
Yeah.
Sanpaku. What's your thoughts on ayahuasca?
It's it's very mystical. It's opens kind of like a portal to different dimensions that, it's very hard to describe, but it's very mystical. It's beyond opening a portal to something that you can't experience without, taking ayahuasca. Imagine, God or somebody saying, let me just show you this new dimension or several of them of what's possible in the mind. And you're just like, oh my God, this is insane, to have an experience like this.
Sure.
And part of it is, and I can't confirm this, but is the healing of past traumas, and you're throwing up, you're purging, you feel better afterwards. It's not that I didn't do it because necessarily I'm looking to get healed or anything. For me, it was more of a curiosity and just sort of a deeper understanding of who are we, what are we doing here, what is all this,
Yeah.
And it's just, if you're somebody who is curious about reality and mysticism and sort of understanding deeper about reality and stuff like that, I think it's fascinating and enlightening in that way. You don't go, it's definitely still confusing because it's like you're opening into this portal and you're just like, what the hell is all this? This is incredible and crazy and strange, and you know what I'm saying? But it's not like, oh, here's the answer to life.
For sure,
some people do say, oh, I was told this, and I met Jesus, or I don't know what happens to them. For me, I can't say that I have a lot more clarity about everything, but it gave me a richer feeling about life and what's beyond what we can see.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever, I've done you get that with mushrooms or acid.
That's what I was going to ask you. How does it compare to like a super high dose of mushrooms? I don't know if you've ever done.
It's a different almost dimension.
Really?
It's like, mushrooms, you go into in one dimension, which is like, I don't know. It's also mystical. Yeah. You're in a portal. You're seeing things that are, you could never imagine, but ayahuasca is like even a little bit of a different, each plant has its own almost world or something.
Did you feel like out of body, or was it you're just looking around at stuff?
Kind of, but you're just in another world. You don't even feel a part of your body. You're just almost going into other dimensions with different, patterns. You feel like almost and again, and everyone has different experience, but I felt like I was in some kind of strange matrix.
Dang.
Of patterns that were, and the patterns would sort of tell you stuff in a way, or
how many times did you do it?
You'd have these feelings,
Yeah. How many times did you do it?
I've done it like 7 times.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's been my thing with ayahuasca. I've never done it because I talk to people and they're like, I've done it like 55 times, like literally like 55 times. And I'm like, why would you think somebody would do it that many times?
Well, why would somebody? I mean, I don't know. There are people do it for different reasons. Some people they need to get healed, or they're trying to get to something. They're trying to. It's a medicine. I mean, some of these shamans or people in the Amazon, they're doing it thousands of times. So for them that's not a big deal. It's just part of daily life. They want to access the spiritual realms. They want to be close to that, because there's a lot happening right now that we're not perceiving, we're not seeing. Some people can be in both worlds at the same time. They can be in this reality, but also experiencing, this spiritual reality at the same time. The question you asked was, why do they need to do it that much? I've also noticed that people.
When did you start doing? Like, when did that kind of come into the mix?
I think actually during this process of making this film.
That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. But I've always been super scared of it, because when I was like 12 years old, I smoked pot, and I totally freaked out and thought I was crazy, and just like for a good 6 months, like I had a panic attack and was still like just in shock. It totally tuned me up, and I was just like, what the hell? It was devastating. And so after that, for like 20 years, I was afraid to do anything. Like, wow, if pot, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so you went from like anything,
nothing for like, I mean, obviously, alcohol and stuff like that, but because, weed was so like insane for me of an experience and shocking. And
what was the bug out like at 12? Because I used to smoke weed when I was younger, and I was chill.
Wow.
And later,
I did do it one time and it was chill, and then I did it again and I just completely lost it. Like, it was just like a panic attack. I wasn't prepared for the psychedelic aspect of it. I mean, it was just like really, I did a lot of hits, and just everything was like this. And I thought I was going to die. I thought I was going crazy, literally, for whatever. And it was so traumatizing that for months I was just like, is this real? What is going on?
Yeah.
And no one knew like what to do. They thought I was like crazy.
And you couldn't tell your parents.
I did tell them.
Did you really?
I was just like, I need to go to the hospital. Like, this is
what'd they say?
Something's wrong with me. They had no idea what to do. I mean, gradually it's dissipated. Yeah. But I still never felt like my old self. And it really kind of tuned me up and made me feel like very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And
shit, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so since that point, I was like very terrified of losing my mind, But ultimately I gained enough courage, in the last few years to like, I was just so curious that I wanted to try it. And I kind of started to.
That must have been terrifying then.
Like, absolutely. Like, and I think everybody's a little bit terrified of these, these plant medicines or mushrooms because, everyone's afraid of losing their mind,
Yeah, true.
But I think part of it is that's what we kind of need to do. That this world it's
rough.
Yeah.
I've been just for like, was you doing a podcast, you go, I should know like what's the top 10 news stories right now. And I've been like grokking being like, yo, hit me with the top 10 news stories. Yeah. So scary. Everything you read is like really bad. Yeah. And it's like, fuck, this is, and it is funny. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, we should just get along, but it's like, it's gotta be something we can do. This is kind of nuts. When you read every story, it's just like the technology's too good. We can't keep fighting. The technology's too strong. Get into like bioweapons, all this other shit. And it's like, dude, we gotta be nice. That's literally, we're gonna die. Yeah. Like we're all gonna die in like a hot, nasty flash. And it's gonna be pretty sad.
And going back to the movie, I mean, I guess what I learned was that a lot of these indigenous prophecies kind of were all saying the same thing. So for the past like thousands of years, they've been saying, at this time, the world would be going through incredibly difficult place, like cataclysmic kind of things, and that it will be in such a bad place that, we're going to really need indigenous wisdom. Go back to the original, they call it the original order, go back to the origins, of indigenous wisdom and connection to the earth that we're going to need to basically save ourselves. Part of that is connection to the earth, listening to all what's going on, and then behaving in the right way. I don't know. It's
Yeah, I mean, it's fair.
yeah,
Especially when here we're going to run out of water. It's like, fuck.
yeah,
3/4 of the water, it's all water.
yeah.
Fucking use it.